began like any other high-profile guest appearance on the Viewbright studio lights. A bustling audience, and the trademark opening chatter that filled the set with anticipation. Jennifer Lawrence had arrived dressed in muted elegance, her expression calm but unreadable, carrying the poise of someone used to balancing the weight of celebrity with the grit of real-world advocacy. She was there, ostensibly, to promote her latest film, but everyone in the room knew that Jennifer Lawrence wasn't the kind of guest who stayed within the boundaries of pre-approved talking points. The conversation opened gently, with co-hosts exchanging pleasantries, brushing over career highlights, motherhood, and humor-laced jabs about Hollywood's obsession with sequels. But there was a current running beneath the tabula, tension not yet spoken, only hinted at in sidelong glances and stiff body language. Joy Behar, ever the provocateur, had her eyes locked on Jennifer from the beginning, waiting for the moment to pivot the discussion into something less comfortable. When she finally leaned in and said, "You Hollywood types like to speak on issues you barely understand. Climate change, inequality. Isn't that just performative?" Air shifted instantly. The laughter died. Even Sunny Hostin's usual diplomatic expression flickered into concern. Jennifer didn't blink. She sat back slowly, locking eyes with Joy, and her voice, though calm, sliced through the silence like steel. "It's only performative when you speak and do nothing. And I listen to people whose lives are affected, not just ratings." Joy scoffed, perhaps assuming this would become the kind of playful sparring match the show thrived on. But Jennifer wasn't playing. Her tone remained firm, unshaken, and with each word, she dismantled the familiar scaffolding of daytime comfort. "Zones. There's a difference," she said, "between having a platform and abusing one. You confuse critique with ego." The studio held its breath as Joy fired back, accusing her of being another entitled actress using celebrity to push personal politics. "Do you know how many people see this show as their escape? They don't want lectures?" Jennifer's face turned stony. What? Maybe they should stop escaping and start listening. The clash wasn't just verbal, it was ideological, generational, emotional. Co-hosts tried to mediate, but their voices were drowned in the weight of two worlds colliding. Live on air. The crew shifted uncomfortably behind the cameras, sensing they were witnessing not just an awkward moment, but a seismic one. And when Jennifer finally leaned forward, her voice low and cold, and said, "If you're so afraid of honesty, maybe it's time you left the table, not me." The shock was tangible. But it wasn't Joy who stood. It was Jennifer. She rose without theatrics, without looking back, and walked off the set as producers scrambled and the audience gasped. In those few steps, a cultural line had been drawn not between a guest and a host, but between authenticity and performative civility, between new voices demanding accountability and old ones clinging to unchecked authority. The cameras tried to cut to commercial, but the moment was already viral. Asterisk backstage, the tension was electric. Crew members with headsets scrambled to recover the segment, eyes darting between producers and network reps who were frantically coordinating in whispers. Jennifer Lawrence, meanwhile, didn't storm down the hallway with the rage of a diva. She walked with the unnerving calm of someone who had made a decision long before stepping on that stage. Cameras didn't follow her into the dressing room, but the stories leaked within hours. Publicists tried to reason with her, suggesting she issue a clarification.
"Add a quick social media statement to soften the blow."
Jennifer reportedly looked at her and said, "I'm not interested in damage control. If that was damaging, maybe we all need to be damaged more often." She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She simply collected her things, made one final phone call to her assistant, and left the building before anyone could frame the narrative for her. Meanwhile, back on the show, the remaining hosts were left in chaos. Whoopi Goldberg, the veteran voice of reason, tried to salvage the segment. "We're gonna go to break," she muttered with a stern look toward Joy, but it was too late. Social media had already exploded. Clips of the confrontation had been uploaded, analyzed, and dissected within minutes. Millions of viewers who hadn't even seen the episode live were now choosing sides in what quickly became one of the most controversial moments in The View's storied history. Some called Jennifer brave, others called her arrogant. But everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't just TV anymore. It was a cultural earthquake. Joy Behar, defiant as ever, tried to brush it off in the next segment, quipping, "Well, we know she can act, at least." But the remark landed flat. Not even her allies on the panel chuckled. The tone had shifted irrevocably, producers considered, pulling the episode entirely, but decided against it. Ratings had spiked, and controversy, after all, sold. Still. The network issued a statement that night vague and diplomatic, praising open dialogue while regretting the disruption. Jennifer didn't respond. Her silence, curated or authentic, only fueled the blaze. In the days that followed, she was invited to appear on rival networks, to give her side, to set the record straight. She declined every offer. Instead, she posted a single photo on her Instagram, an empty chair, captioned, "When you refuse." To be spoken over, it became the most shared image of the week. Activists reposted it.
Ow.
Journalists dissected it. Even her critics were forced to admit was a masterstroke. Without saying a word, she had taken control of the narrative. Across the media spectrum, think pieces erupted. Was this the beginning of a new kind of celebrity activism? Rooted in polished speeches, but in refusal, in walkouts, in public disengagement as resistance. On late-night talk shows, comedians took turns lampooning both Jennifer and Joy. But even their jokes came tinged with discomfort, as if they, too, were unsure how far was too far anymore. Asterisk as the media frenzy reached its peak. Something remarkable began to happen. People started reflecting. Not just on Jennifer Lawrence's dramatic exit, but on what had been said in those few heated minutes. Pundits, academics, influencers, even fellow celebrities, everyone weighed in. Some applauded Jennifer's unfiltered conviction, calling her a necessary disruptor in an increasingly sanitized media landscape. Others accused her of arrogance, of disrespecting a long-standing platform. But regardless of which side they took, everyone kept repeating one sentence. Maybe they should stop escaping and start listening. It became a rallying cry across social media, printed on t-shirts, used in protest banners, quoted in op-eds. The moment had transcended the show, had ignited something far bigger. Meanwhile, Joy Behar, who had always prided herself on being brash but unshakable, found herself under a different kind of scrutiny. In the past, she had survived controversies. Accusations of insensitivity, moments where her wit turned into a weapon, but this time felt different. It wasn't just what she said to Jennifer. It was the collective exhale of viewers who'd grown tired of the show's increasingly antagonistic tone, masked as humor. Calls for accountability surface, not just from casual viewers, but from longtime fans, from former guests who remembered similar interactions. The spotlight turned, briefly but intensely, on Joy herself. Some asked whether it was time for new voices to fill those iconic chairs. ABC executives held emergency meetings, not because of one fight, but because of what that fight had revealed. A growing disconnect between the show's legacy format and the modern, more emotionally intelligent public that demanded better. Through it all, Jennifer Lawrence said almost nothing. She posted no takedown threads, gave no follow-up interviews, and didn't ride the wave of attention. She went quiet purposefully. Instead, she directed that spotlight toward causes she supported. The same week, the fallout continued. She donated a sizable sum to an organization that supports media literacy and women's empowerment in journalism. The message was subtle, but clear. The issue wasn't just about Joy Behar or the View It. It was about systemic dynamics of who gets to speak and who's expected to sit silently and smile. Other actresses began speaking up. Kerry Washington, Viola Davis, even Meryl Streep shared their own stories of being interrupted, belittled, or dismissed on live television or during press junkets. What Jennifer had done was open a floodgate, not by lecturing, but by walking out. That simple refusal to stay in a hostile space became an act of resistance, a symbol for others to rally behind. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. It was real. In a world where authenticity had become rare, that kind of bold imperfection resonated more deeply than any monologue ever could.